You keep telling yourself, it is just overthinking. But why does it feel so real this time? Why does it feel like something is quietly changing? And you are the only one who can feel it. There is a tension in the air, like something is about to be revealed. And you are standing right in the middle of it. You notice it in people first. The way their energy shifts when you walk in, like they know something you do not. The way conversations suddenly feel forced. The silence feels heavier, like something unspoken is screaming underneath. And your intuition keeps pulling you back to the same thought. Something is not right. You tried to ignore it. You distracted yourself. You told yourself you are just overthinking again. But this time it does not fade. It grows. It follows you into quiet moments, into late nights, into your thoughts. It sits with you in silence, waiting, watching, refusing to be ignored. What if this is not anxiety? What if this is awareness? Finally breaking through everything you have been conditioned to believe. What if your mind is not creating fear, but revealing truth? You were never meant to see this early, because once you start noticing it, you cannot go back to who you were before. The patterns become louder, the signs become clearer, and the illusion starts falling apart piece by piece. And the most terrifying part is realizing this was happening all along. You just were not ready to see it right now. This moment, this feeling you cannot explain. This is where everything changes. Most people will ignore it, scroll past it, convince themselves it means nothing. But you stayed, which means a part of you already knows. This is real. You did not randomly start feeling this way. Something triggered it, even if you cannot fully see it yet. A moment, a shift, a realization. Something quietly pulled you out of the version of reality you were comfortable in. And now you are standing in between two versions of truth. The one you knew and the one you are starting to see. At first, it was small, almost unnoticeable. Just a strange feeling that something was slightly off. Like a tiny crack forming in something that once felt unbreakable. Something you trusted without question. And even though it looked normal on the outside, inside, you could feel the pressure building. You tried to brush it away. You told yourself you are just overthinking like always. But this time, the feeling did not fade. It stayed. It waited. It grew stronger in silence. And no matter how much you distracted yourself, it kept finding its way back to you. It started showing up in patterns, repeated situations, the same emotions appearing in different forms, different people, different places, but the same exact energy. Like something is looping around you. Like life is trying to show you something, but you are only seeing pieces of it. And the more you noticed it, the harder it became to ignore. Because awareness is not something you can turn off once it wakes up inside you. It starts connecting everything, every moment, every sign, every uncomfortable truth. You're not imagining this. You're noticing what was always there, but hidden from you. And that is why it feels so overwhelming. Because your mind is trying to catch up with your awareness. This is the moment where everything starts to make sense. Even if it feels like everything is falling apart, the hardest part is not what is happening around you. It is what is happening inside you. Because a part of you still wants to believe everything is normal, safe, unchanged. But another part of you has already seen too much, and it refuses to go back. You feel it in your chest. That quiet pressure that comes without warning. Not loud enough to explain, but strong enough to disturb your peace completely. Like something inside you is trying to wake you up, even if it breaks you first. And suddenly, the things that once made sense start to feel empty. Conversations feel shallow. Routines feel meaningless. Even people feel distant. Not because they changed, but because you did. You start questioning everything. Your choices, your surroundings, even your own thoughts. And that scares you, because you are no longer blindly accepting things the way you used to. You are seeing through them, and that clarity feels heavy. There are moments where you wish you could go back. Back to not noticing. Back to not feeling this deeply. But deep inside, going back is no longer possible. Because once your mind expands, it does not shrink again. This is not confusion. This is transformation. Even if it feels uncomfortable right now, you are not losing yourself. You are shedding versions of yourself that no longer fit. And that process is never meant to feel easy. There comes a moment when you stop fighting it and just sit with the truth you have been avoiding. Not because you are ready, but because you are exhausted from pretending everything is okay. And in that silence, something inside you finally speaks without fear. You start realizing it was never random. None of it was. Every strange feeling, every repeated pattern, every uncomfortable moment had a purpose. They were not here to confuse you. They were here to wake you up. And suddenly, the pain starts making sense. Not as something that broke you, but as something that forced you to see differently. Something that pushed you out of illusions you were too comfortable living in. You begin to see people for who they truly are, not who you hoped they would be. You notice energies, intentions, the things that were always hidden beneath the surface. And that clarity, it changes how you feel about everything. It is overwhelming. Because truth is not always comforting. Sometimes it isolates you. Sometimes it makes you feel alone in a world that suddenly feels unfamiliar. But that loneliness is not punishment. It is preparation. Because in this phase, you are not meant to blend in anymore. You are meant to see clearly, to feel deeply, to understand what most people choose to ignore. And that is why this feels so intense. Because you are not the same person anymore. And then it hits you, not softly, but all at once, like a truth you can no longer escape. You were not just noticing things, you were being prepared to see everything differently. Every discomfort, every distance, every broken expectation was pushing you toward this moment. You start connecting dots you once ignored. Patterns that suddenly feel impossible to deny. The same cycles, the same lessons, repeating until you finally choose to understand them. And now, you cannot unsee how everything was guiding you here. This is where most people turn back. Because truth feels heavier than illusion. They distract themselves. They numb the feeling. They convince themselves nothing is happening. But you stayed with it. Even when it felt uncomfortable. Even when it scared you. And that is what separates you now. Not better. Not worse. Just aware. Aware of energies. Aware of intentions. Aware of the reality beneath the surface. You are no longer reacting blindly. You are observing with clarity. But awareness comes with a cost. And you are starting to feel it. The distance from people. The silence in conversations. The weight of knowing too much. It feels lonely because you are no longer connected to the illusions that once comforted you. Yet, this is not the end of you. This is the beginning of something far more powerful. Because when illusions break, truth takes their place, and truth builds something real. And right now, you are standing in that exact moment of transformation, and now you understand. This was never about overthinking. It was about awakening, about seeing what you were not ready to see before, and feeling what you once ignored. This was the moment your reality stopped lying to you and started revealing the truth. You are not the same anymore, and you can feel it in everything. The way you think, the way you react, the way you see people and situations now. There is a depth inside you that was not there before, and it cannot be undone. And yes, it feels heavy sometimes, because truth is not always comfortable. It forces you to let go, to walk away, to outgrow things you once held onto tightly. But that is not loss. That is alignment with who you are becoming. You stopped settling, stopped ignoring, stopped shrinking yourself to fit into places that never felt right. You started choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, truth over comfort. And that choice is quietly changing your entire life. This is not something to fear, even if it feels overwhelming right now. Because what you are experiencing, most people will never have the courage to face. You are stepping into awareness, into clarity, into a higher version of yourself. So the next time you feel that quiet voice inside you, do not silence it. Do not label it as overthinking. Do not push it away. Listen to it. Because that voice is not confusion. It is truth finally being heard.